every time I go back and visit, I am reminded why I left and moved to Florida. And it's mainly the people.
Yeah.
I can't be around liberals anymore, leftists. They're just exasperating and annoying. It hardens my heart. And I do not want to have a hard heart towards the human race.
Amazing. And so you were a school teacher here in LA, in
Hmm.
California, and you
Yes.
decided to stop being a public school teacher at least. You taught for a Christian school at one time too. But tell the folks why you stopped being a public school teacher.
I was happy in what I was doing. I taught the low readers, so the students that were behind. I taught middle school and high school. Um, I taught the students that were learning English, so the English learners. And I did not think I was ever going to leave being a public school teacher. I had my career. I influenced my best friend to become a public school teacher, my husband to become a public school teacher. I had set up this little life for myself that I loved. But then about 10 years ago, when I was at a training down south for a some sort of teacher training, something happened that just made me realize, oh wow, this career is changing.
So clearly woke ideologies have gone too far and even lefties are catching on to this. And this following video, which we're about to watch, is about a school teacher who had to quit her job because she refused to engage in extreme woke ideology and feed that to the kids at her school. I've been saying this many times, woke is killing our current society. It's not leading to the right discussions that need to be had. In addition, wokeism administers censorship, whereby if you're a school teacher and you don't do what we tell you to, then that could cost you your job. If you don't go by these people's pronouns, that can cost you your job. If you're a patient in the NHS and an NHS worker comes to you and says, this is my pronouns, and you don't comply with the pronouns that they have prescribed to you, then that could cost you to go to another practice to seek treatment, as we saw a few videos back, whereby a woman was banned from a GP practice for not complying with staff pronouns. We covered that a few videos back. So it's going absolutely crazy, and unfortunately this is the current society in which we're living in. Woke has taken over everything. It's taken over everything. It's taken over Olympics, it's taken over work, it's taken over everything we used to like. Gaming, it's taken over entertainment, education, everything. And the people are just sick and tired, and it's good to see people from the left coming out and saying, I'm tired of this. Anyway, let's watch the video and then we will analyze as we always do.
So you lived in LA, in California one time?
Yes, born and raised.
Really? So do you miss California?
I miss the weather. I miss the strawberries. I miss the Mexican food. I miss being in the classroom as a public school teacher.
Yeah.
I miss my job. It was tenured teacher. I miss not having to. I miss working for someone else. I personally do not like being my own boss.
Yeah.
There's some people that love being their own boss, but for me, it has been. I have to kick my own butt. That's basically what.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard.
Yeah, it takes a lot to be your own boss. That's for sure.
Yes, exactly. And I do really well when I have a boss. I'm just a really good worker. I guess I was trained well by my schools to be a good worker. So I miss a lot of it, but I don't. Every time I go back and visit, I am reminded why I left and moved to Florida. And it's mainly the people.
Yeah.
I can't be around liberals anymore, leftists. They're just exasperating and annoying, and it hardens my heart, and I do not want to have a hard heart towards the human race.
Amazing. And so you were a school teacher here in LA, in California, and
Yes.
you decided to stop being a public school teacher at least. You taught for a Christian school at one time too. But tell the folks why you stopped being a public school teacher.
I was happy in what I was doing. I taught the low readers, so the students that were behind. I taught middle school and high school. I taught the students that were learning English, so the English learners. And I did not think I was ever going to leave being a public school teacher. I had my career. I influenced my best friend to become a public school teacher, my husband to become a public school teacher. I had set up this little life for myself that I loved. But then about 10 years ago, when I was at a training down south for some sort of teacher training, something happened that just made me realize, oh wow, this career is changing. First of all, we were in a meeting and this white male teacher stood up and said, I have white privilege. And I was like, what is this? He was like, I just want to let the room know that I addressed the fact that I have white privilege. And I was like, what is this? I'm like, I already, like, and that was the beginning of this whole super color focused nonsense that started coming into the schools.
Right.
And then it went really crazy in 2020. So bad that I actually got a gift for being a black teacher. My superintendent emailed me and said, we have a gift for just the black teachers.
What
And yes, exactly. And I was like, okay. And so I went and picked up the gift, and because we were still teaching online at the time, I went and picked up the gift, and it was the most pandering, weird gift I've ever received in my life. It included an I Love Being Black sticker. It had an I Love Being Black pin. It had a Africa continent with the fist on the label. It had a greeting. It had a letter with the greeting of OTEP. So they were like greeting me with the ancient greeting of OTEP, which is a pagan god for one.
Yeah.
It had honey body wash. It had a Black Educators Matter mask.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I was like, this is not going to work. And then I also got an email from the superintendent asking me if I wanted to lead a group group for black kids to meet after school and basically share their trauma of being in a district that is hard on. It was basically just a black kid group for sharing about what it's like to be in a school that oppresses them, basically.
So the school was basically telling her to stay behind and lead the group and carry on promoting victimhood mentality. Carry on telling the black kids in school that, you know, you're being oppressed, life is hard, you're never going to get anywhere in life. The white man is there and he's oppressing you. Never mind the amount of millionaires, billionaires, never mind the fact that Black America have a buying power of about $2 trillion. Never mind that. You're being oppressed and life is hard, and that's what they wanted her to administer to the children. In addition, the continuous indoctrination of victimhood mentality into black kids is what will eventually lead them down a path of destruction eventually, because they're gonna have a chip on their shoulder and feel like, you know, they've been done so bad, even though they have the same rights to succeed in America. Many groups come into America, many African groups as well, predominantly a lot of Nigerians come into America and they achieve very highly. But because a lot of these extremely woke schools want to administer woke programs, you keep black kids in a box, and then eventually when they grow up and lash out against society and self-destruct, then you wonder where the problem came from. And the problem stemmed from self-victimhood mentality.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it was getting to where I couldn't be silent anymore, so I started exposing this stuff online. I shared about the Black Teacher Gift online. I shared about the critical race theory lessons that were given to me, but that my district was teaching to the students in a required class. I shared about the pro-Black Lives Matter lessons, and I started sharing it anonymously on Facebook. I had a private Facebook, and I was sharing this stuff anonymously because I didn't want to get fired.
Right.
And my Facebook started growing really quickly when I was sharing this, and I was just accepting every friend request, like I was going through each person, you know, because I had a private account, right? And since then, and then eventually it came out who I was. I came out with who I was before I quit. And I was getting calls to the district for people were trying to get me fired. And also they were reopening the schools and requiring us all to wear masks. And that's when I decided to resign because I did not want to teach in a mask.
And did any of your close Christian teacher friends turn against you?
You know what? That was probably the hardest part of all of this, was the amount of attacks I got from other Christians that I know personally. And first of all, I want to make it clear that there are some that were awake during that time and they were commending me for speaking up. But I can't tell you how many times I had someone tell me that I wasn't being loving enough, tell me that I'm losing my focus. I can't get hired now at a Christian school. I've tried, because I do miss being in the classroom because my school's online and I miss being in the classroom, and
right.
I don't actually have to teach the classes for my school. And they won't hire me. I got really close to being hired at a school just recently, and then the superintendent found my social media and said, nope. And this is a Christian school.
Really?
Yeah, because what I do is divisive, and I will admit that. Like what I say online is divisive. It's if you are left leaning and you find my account, you are going to be extremely insulted, triggered, mad. I mean, I can't even tell you these people get raging mad. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
Like and it doesn't matter if they're Christian or not. They are angry at your views.
Yes.
And they will try to shut you down. So yeah, I would say at least half a dozen people that I know in person, Christians, try to discourage me from speaking up. And I just remember thinking in my head, I wasn't mean to them. I would just block them. I would just not talk to them anymore on my phone. And I would just be like, get behind me, Satan. Like I really need to, God really called me to speak up right now. And it was hard to speak up. It was hard.
And what did your husband think about you speaking up and what happened to you, the results of what happened? What did he think, and how did he deal with that?
You know what's funny is we were both speaking up at the same time together, and we were building a following together as partners, right? And we would often do lives together. And then Facebook really got crazy in their censorship in 2020. I don't know if you remember that, but Facebook, you used to be able to grow on Facebook. You used to be able to share political content and it would go viral. Like I had a video of me and my goddaughter speaking against Black Lives Matter and had millions of views on Facebook. That doesn't happen now.
Right.
And so my husband and I, we were growing the following together because I wanted to do this with him. He's actually a lot more eloquent and confident than I am. But he doesn't have he gets angry at social media because they shut you down so much. So he got banned on Facebook and banned on TikTok. Yes. And I did too. I also got banned, but I didn't give up. He was just like, forget these social media platforms, forget them, because he doesn't want to build a following again. He doesn't want to have to go through all that work and, just to be erased over a meme or whatever. He was like shut down over a meme, basically. And he just was like, forget it. Me, on the other hand, I was like, nope, I'm going to keep going. Like, I've been banned 11 times on TikTok, and I just opened up another account. I opened up another account. And that's the only way I've been able to stay alive, is that I have to fight against the censorship constantly.
That's amazing. And so you left the public school and you taught at a Christian school for a while, right? And
yeah, I did that for about 2 months, and I've never quit a job mid-year. But it turned out that the principal was really COVID scared. This was during, I think it was 2021, when COVID was still kind of a big thing.
Right.
And she didn't even want me to address this. I taught it was a middle school. I taught the middle school, and she didn't want the students to sit together at lunch. She wanted them social distancing at lunchtime, and I was like, I can't make middle school kids social distance.
Right.
And she didn't want me to address the kids facing them. Like, she wanted me to turn away and not, like, breathe on them or whatever. Yeah, and I'm like, I can't do that. Yeah. So.
That's insane.
And it's funny because my husband's been wanting us to open our own school, and I was not having the faith. I was like, I was raised in a poor household. I do not trust the idea of having to rely on our own wits and entrepreneurship to make a living. So I lacked the faith, and I got us jobs as real public school, at a Christian school, but it didn't pay very well. And at about 2 months in, my husband and I, we looked at each other and we were like, you know what, this isn't working, and God wants us to open our own school. So we resigned, we cashed out our California teacher retirements, and used that money to open up our school a year later.
That's amazing. And were you surprised at the Christian schools and the way they were acting?
You know what? I really wasn't. I was hoping. I always have hope with Christians. They always disappoint me, and that's why because I think that Christians are oftentimes some of the worst people to deal with, right?
Yes.
And I think that's just comes with the fact that they are also God's people, and Satan's constantly working on them to divide us, working on us to be angry at each other, and it can be really when you deal with the people, but not with Jesus. Jesus is Jesus is amazing. But yeah, I was not that surprised. I've been hurt a lot by Christians, just personally, just because of my testimony, even because I had a supernatural experience that really woke me up, and I don't share that often anymore, because every time I share it, people just misinterpret it and say stuff about me that's not true. So I wasn't very surprised by it, but at the same time, I was disappointed.
Is it possible to be a son or daughter of God and treat one another in that way?
What do you think, Jesse? I think that we all fall short, you know, and there's been times where I've been, you know, I've made a lot of mistakes this last 4 years since I started publicly speaking. There was a time when I would say everything online, and I wasn't doing videos at first. It was always just typing on my Facebook. I actually never showed my face for like the first year and a half.
Right.
I was just writing, and I would write about family members that were very COVID scared, or I would write about family members that are supporting Biden, and I would just rip them. I would just throw them out there like, look how lame this person is, and this is a family member that I love, right?
Wow.
And that's so hurtful.
Yeah.
So in that time, God definitely rebuked me, and he rebukes those that he loves. So I think that when Christians are being awful to each other, if you stay in that place, that's a scary place. But if you learn from it and you become a better person from it, that's just normal Christian growth and learning the traits of your character that need to die.
Right.
Okay, so that is DEI gone wrong. DEI gone wrong. They tried to be ultra inclusive, but you know, she wasn't having it. She was like, I don't need a mug that says you're amazing, or BLM, or the African map on it with a fist. You know, let's just go to school and let's just do what we're there to do, which is to teach the kids, educate the kids on different subjects. Let's get back to basics and not administer hidden agendas in, you know, in the school classroom. You know, let's just teach the kids. Let the kids be kids. You know, they don't need to learn about so much hate. Teach them history, teach them what you need to teach them, but let them just be kids. You know, all of this woke, all this extra stuff, you know, pronouns, same sex, leave it alone. Let the kids just be kids. Let them just enjoy their life. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you at the next video. Peace.